Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mothers have practically built themselves. Hopefully you saw the unboxing and review I did of this kit recently on the Kit Hoarder Stash. And you'll know that there's very few parts and there's very few sprues. So it comes in 3 different colors, and I took all of the parts that would be roof parts and sprayed them with my Rust-Oleum primer red. And then all of the parts that were white of the house, the walls, things like that, I painted both sides with my Floquil Railroad Colors black. And this is an oil-based paint, and I use that for a reason, because I'm going to be doing all of my rest of my weathering with acrylics. Okay, so we're going to take some of this white craft paint, some of the black craft paint, and a little bit of this brown craft paint, and I'm going to take some of the white, take a little bit of black, a little more white. I just want a nice lightish gray, little teeny bit of brown, add in there. Now we're going to wipe this off on a paper towel without making a mess, I hope. Okay. Let's see if I can. And then I am going to just kind of make some strokes like this. Okay, we'll come back in a minute. You kind of get the idea what I'm doing. And here's the other side I've already done. So I am just going to start doing this with this. And we are going to try and make this thing look like a dilapidated, haunted old house. Okay, so I'm going to work on that for a minute, but here's the results of the first piece that I did. So, well, here you can see I've put the sides of the home together and put it on the base. Now, remember, I painted the base in a that 2X primer, and I gave it a wash with some Larry's bath water, and I'll show you some of the highlights I did on it later. As far as the sides of the house go, I did add a little bit of brown here and there to kind of get to this effect right here, but I've still got a long way to go. So now that I've got it basically together, I'm going to use some thin paper that I have that's got curtain material patterns printed on it, and I'm going to take some of these different ones. I'm just going to cut them out and go ahead and put them in the windows. I have a bunch of this kind of stuff, both on kind of cardstock and then the thinner stuff that the light can actually filter through, that I purchased some time ago when I got a bunch of interior pieces for HO scale buildings. And here I've cut some of the curtain part away so that you can look inside, and there is Mummy, the mummy figure. I went ahead and put a floor in, and I'm going to put some walls in as well, but I wanted to have her staring out the window. So here's the main floor, and you can see I've just glued in curtains on all of these windows. They will show light through, which is really nice, but you really can't see inside the house, so to speak, even though it's going to have about 3/4 of an interior. Now for the interior, I just used some Aught-10 sheet styrene that I had, and I'm going to cut this into the shapes of walls and floors and things like that. So you can see here the second floor, where I've gone ahead and put up some walls, and I've put up some flooring. I've actually put hallway in, and I've cut a big hole there for a staircase, that HO scale staircase that I had. Probably, I don't know what company makes it, but anyway, you can see here where I've actually attached some of the sheet to the side of the staircase, and I've got a railing there. So yeah, it's going to have
enough of an interior with these little cracks and whatnot that you can look in and actually see something there. No, the top's not going to be removable. No, it's not going to be a full decorated house or anything like that. I just wanted to, if you look into one of the windows that has just a little bit of an opening, I want there to be something there besides being able to see through the whole way, plus the lights. I'm going to strategically put the lights, pretty much one in each room, so that I have the light the way that I want it. So that's why, in looking down from above, you can see what it looks like here. Now I'm going to go ahead and work on the base. And since this is the house on the hill, I've cut this hole in this piece of styrofoam that this is where the battery box is going to sit. So I had this piece of styrofoam, figured out about the size that I needed, cut it out with my hot wire tool. Pretty simple. You've seen me do tutorials on that before, so I won't cover that whole thing. But anyway, there's the hole I've made for the battery box, and we'll see how that turns out here in just a few minutes. So on the other side, I have drawn out the dimensions of the base for the home, and I went ahead and cut some of that area out so I can just put it in there and glue that in. I'm going to use some Gorilla Glue to put that in. And the battery box should slid right through that hole and right down in there. So we're going to let this dry. We're going to come back and then we're going to do some groundwork on it. So for the groundwork, I'm going to use my kind of a tannish color. It's a latex paint that I have, tannish brown. I'm going to put that down over the whole thing as a base, and then I'm going to take some tile grout that I've got in a gray color and sprinkle that all over this thing. After letting it dry overnight, I put some static tack glue all over it, put a little bit of static grass on, you can see where that is, and then I put some of my fall foliage that I made, the red, the orange, the yellow, and kind of sprinkled it all over the place. Took a little spray bottle with some white glue and some dish soap and some water, and very similar to your scenic cement, and just sprayed this all down and tamped it all down. So once I had that done, I put the house back into place on it and decided where I was going to start putting trees and whatnot. So here's the upper steps. I've got those in. I still don't have the walkway in yet, but you see that I've cleared away a way for that walkway. And here's the front of the house. And we'll get back to how I do the walkway here in a moment. Here at the back door, I've done a combination of colors, green, red, yellow, orange, for bushes. And I've taken these little tufts of grass that I've got, and I've just kind of put them mostly in the corners, but just here and there around the hill. And here you can see at the base of the stairs, to kind of hide the crack, I've put some green bushes with a little bit of orange. And on the steps, I went ahead and painted some of the individual stones, either kind of a tan color or a brownish color or a darker gray color, and then washed it all with Larry's bath water. So for the walkway, put down some white glue, and then I took some fine gray ballast and just put that in where I wanted to have my walkway, and I think it's going to turn out just fine. As far as the trees go, I had some nice autumn colored trees that I had made, some oranges, some yellows, and some reds, and I just placed those around the property. Although I did have this larger tree that was in mostly a yellow gold color, I wasn't terribly happy with it. It's just kind of one that I had on the older part of my layout that I tore up earlier this summer. So it was extra. Put a little bit of red on it, and I put this here off to the side of the house. Thought, you know, you got to have some trees, and I think it turned out pretty good having the different combinations of trees on here. Again, I wanted a nice autumn looking theme. I wanted to do a pumpkin patch. But my pumpkins, well, let's just say that the mice got to my fennel seeds, and so I decided against it. And I didn't really have a room right now, but I did have this little area in the back that I put some corn stalks that I had, and so I went ahead and put some corn up in the backyard there. So here we go. We're going to look at the property, starting at the front door, the finished product, with all of the fall leaves and bushes and things that are all over the top of the hill. Again, I wanted something October-ish for this. It's a piece that I can put on the mantle if I want to decorate for Halloween with it. I can put it on the train layout if I want, but the only time I'd really put it there is, of course, during the Halloween season. So I thought it was perfect to do this fall colors theme on it, and I think that it turned out okay. I'm definitely happy with the results. The house, as you can see, has that kind of weathered look, like it's been neglected for a while. You can imagine a big tall house like that. Yeah, especially if you're a psycho and you've got to run a motel, it's well, kind of hard to get around and paint it. So hope you enjoyed this, folks. The lights do work, and I'll show you a little bit of that here in just a second, but we'll finish up with this exterior view. Yeah, I really like how this turned out, and I hope you like how it turned out as well.